Hello there, my name is Tayo Yoroko, and today we're going to be talking about how to 2x, 5x, or even 10x your real estate investment. I can tell you from someone who's been investing in the real estate sector, both in the diaspora in Nigeria for over the last 15 years, I can tell you categorically that you can get very high ROI on investment, and it's not about buying cheap. You see, a lot of people think buying cheap would eventually probably increase their ROI, but no, you can't leave a land I do and expect it to maybe 5x or 10x in value. So there are strategies, there are structures, and there are timing to some of these things. And here are 4 things that you need to pay attention to when you're trying to buy a real estate investment. For example, in the UK, in the US, or even in Canada or any other country. Number 1, you need to look at the right market price. Now let's discuss this. The right market price. The right market price does not mean the land is cheap. It doesn't mean the land is cheap. There are factors that you need to look at to make sure that when you do the maths, the math makes sense. So you need to make sure that you're buying at the right market price. The fact that someone told you to come and buy something really cheap, if it's a building, it could have structural damage. If it's a land, for example, in Nigeria, the land could have dispute on it. The land could be there for 15, 20 years. I've seen some people buy into real estate projects where they all come together like 10, 50, 100, 1,000 people buy there. And after 5, 6 years, you're not even able to go into the land. You don't even know where the plot is. The land is not cleared. Everywhere has become a bush. So you bought into such kind of asset, even though you think the price is right, but the price is wrong. I can tell you categorically that price is wrong. So you need to make sure you buy, or you don't want to buy a product that at the end of the day, when you do the maths, you can make at least 10, 30, 25, 30, 50% or more margin on it. I can tell you in some real estate deals, you can actually make 100%. I'll be talking about that in another video. The second one is the asset type. What kind of asset are you buying into? You need to be sure if it's a long-term asset or a short-term asset. If it's a short-term asset, you need to know where to buy and what to look out for. If it's a medium-term asset, you need to know what to buy and what to look out for. There has to be structure to it. There has to be timing to it. If it's a long-term asset, then there are some other factors also that you need to put in place for it. The long-term asset already shows that you have all the time in the world to make sure you put things in place. Don't wait till 20 years. You have to start putting them in place even from now. Also, you have to look at how your asset is planned. You need to plan your asset properly. Another example is you need to have a clear holding period. For example, how long do I want to hold this asset for? Do I want to hold it for 10, 15 years? You see, the problem with most people is that they get greedy when they go into real estate. They get greedy, and the average nature of a man is greed. The fact that, yes, this property can even 10x in the next 15 years, I always advise have a planned holding period. Except some factors change, you can review it, but you need to have a plan from the beginning. Don't just buy and forget about it. That's why some people, especially those who live in the diaspora, just buy land and just leave it there, and there is no holding period. That holding period will probably start allowing you to do the right things, like the right documentation, like fencing, because you have a plan that you're only going to hold this for the next 5 to 6 years. Another one is the exit plan. Exit plan. When am I going to exit this project? Am I keeping this project for retirement or for other purposes? So you need to look at this to be sure that you understand the reason why you are keeping this land. Another good thing that I've noticed, or another thing I've noticed with Nigerians in the diaspora or even Nigerians is that they tend to think buying cheap land will eventually result in ROI, because sometimes they buy medium-term investment with short-term mindset. If you're going to be buying a cheap land, let me even say this, 90% of the time, that investment is a medium-term to a long-term investment. Some of you will buy land, for medium-term investment, and in 3 years, 2 years, you're already putting pressure on the family or the real estate company or the people you're partnering with. Now, this is a no-no. It shows that at the beginning, you had no clear understanding of what you were buying into. So you need to make sure you have a clear understanding of what you're buying into and why you're buying into this that project. So all these things are very important for you to be very successful and for you to 2x, 5x, or even 10x your project. And over the past few years, I've dealt with several clients, that we've worked together, we've partnered together. I can give you an example. I have a client who owns just 3 properties and he's making about 7,500 from it. And I have another client who has about 7 properties and hardly makes about 5,000 pounds for it. So if you see both of them, you probably, this person has 7 properties, and you're excited and like, he's done so well, they have 7 properties. But what is the estimated value of those 7 properties? What is the equity on them? What is the rental value? Trust me, you can tick all this box with the proper professional advisory. All right, and that's what we do for most of our clients, and that's how we invest, with our subsidiary companies to make sure there's a clear understanding of what we're doing. You don't want to invest in such a way that at the end of the day you are frustrated, and this is what happens to most Nigerians in the diaspora. For example, they come and buy a cheap land somebody told them about for just 1 million, and after 5 years they are saying, the 1 million, it did not even become, or the 1 million eventually just produced 2.5 million. The exchange rate has gone up, so it has no value. Nigerian real estate is not the place to be. And I just smile. If you're going to be investing to edge inflation, all right, cheap land does not necessarily mean you will get a high ROI. You see, when you buy cheap land, and I'm going to talk about this extensively in another video, when you buy cheap land, there are a lot of things you need to do. And like I said before, it requires structure, it requires strategy, and it requires timing. It's not something somebody will tell you, come and buy 10 acres. You buy it and you leave it there. All right, because it's a medium-term investment, you can have a cooling period of 1 to 6 months, but at least start doing the fencing, start doing some other things that will help you increase the value. And there are other strategies which, unfortunately, I can't, let it all out here. The reason best known to me. And like I said, there are other strategies you can use, but I can't say all that on this video unless the video will be too long. So you need to understand how to invest in real estate and stop getting frustrated. It's only because somebody told you to come and buy land in a community. Some of you buy land in communities where it doesn't even meet up with your lifestyle anymore, especially when it comes to residential property. And I always say this, as a Nigerian in the diaspora, you need to buy property in such a way that it meets up with your current lifestyle. Let's be honest, if you've left the shores of Nigeria after 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 years, your mentality has changed, the way you see things change. Even when you are abroad, this is the same. Let's even forget about Nigeria. When you are abroad, I always give this example that if anybody comes into Nigeria, for example, from Togo, Cotonou, what's it called? Ghana, all these other neighboring countries, or from Niger and all that. If you're coming to, especially in the southwest, there's a likelihood that the first place you will probably get an accommodation is probably Owode, Sango, Ota, and its environs. Those are probably the areas where you will probably get your land. Now, if you're somebody who is very intentional and you have a plan, after 5, 6 years, you need to start thinking of how to exit if you want more. That's if you want more. There's no crime living in those areas, if you feel you're comfortable there. Let me even shock you. As a migrant, it takes you 5 to 10 years for you to settle down. And if you brought in a child, for example, from Togo or Ghana, and the child was already 10, it means in that environment, the child will grow up till they are 20 years. So if you don't have an exit plan and you feel, I want my child to live in Ikeja, in Magodo, Ojodubega, in Lekki, and all these other places, you need to have a strategy. But that is the same, that's the same strategy that you need to use if you're investing. If you've invested and you've traveled, there are some things that have changed about you. There's a lifestyle you desire. Except you're the natural person who just loves to roll in such communities and you still want to be there and all that. It is okay, and it's okay to live there. all right? I still have investment in some areas where I go to and I love it, all right? It's okay to live there, but becoming frustrated because you chose that kind of investment is what sometimes amazes me about diaspora investors. So if you want to invest, you want to 10x, 2x, or even 5x your investment, you need to understand the structure, the strategy, and the timing. Just like when you live in a diaspora, there's a likelihood that when you also move in, for example, you move into the UK, there's a likelihood that you move to areas where the rents are cheaper. And the cheaper the rent, the most likely the lower or okay quality of life. As you spend 5-10 years, you now need to start thinking of your exit plan. Okay, do I want a school in an area where my children are not more than 10 in a class, 15 in a class? All right? Do I want an area that has less crime? Do I want an area where, there are people of like minds? Even in diaspora, this is how you need to invest and build your portfolio if you really want to be successful. So for many of you watching me, it is important that you choose the right investment so you don't get frustrated whether home or abroad. So in order to 2x, 5x, or 10x your profit, you can have 3 properties and be doing well, and you have 7 in another place and you're not doing well. So all this requires proper advisory. That's why I say this a lot to my mentees. I say, if you want to succeed, the network of people or the kind of people who advise you are very important to the kind of results you get, especially if you travel out. Same thing if you're doing your reverse japa, like we call it in Nigeria, or you're relocating back to your home country, you need to also decide, how do you want to do this? Who are the people that can best advise you? And this is where professional advisory is important. As a diaspora myself, I've taken up the responsibility to guide Nigerians in diaspora on how to invest and 10x their profit. Let me tell you something. It is possible for you to live abroad for 10-15 years, invest in real estate in Nigeria or any other African country or any other country you come from, and trust me, the return on investment there can take care of your bills abroad. I call it the best of both worlds. There's nothing as good as having the best of both worlds as a migrant. I hope you've learned something today. Please follow the channel and subscribe on this channel for more information and for how to learn more about real estate and how to invest in real estate to 2x, 5x, or 10x your profit. And if you need my professional advisory, whether for your diaspora investment or for your Nigerian investment, please feel to contact us through our website and the link that will be below the screen. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.